A recent study was published, and it had some surprising results. Many retirees are saying they would have retired earlier if they knew. But there are some stipulations, and in this video, I want to share with you how to think about things properly so you can retire at the right time. But before we get there, subscribe to our channel, hit the notifications bell so you're alerted to when we post new videos. So New York Life published a study, and they interviewed people who had over $100,000 of investable assets. And the results were that 46% of those who had retired said they would have retired on average 4 years earlier if they had had the same financial level of security 4 years prior that they do now. It's a big stipulation, right? Because there are a number of considerations that we have to think about. And it's all in the planning, all right? If you wait a few more years, your Social Security would grow if you had deferred it. If you wait, maybe your pension would have grown a little bit more. If you had waited, maybe your investment portfolio would have grown a little more and you wouldn't have withdrawn any income from it. So there are a lot of different moving parts, but that's just the financial side of things. There's also the personal side of things, which is a huge consideration. I've said this over and over again. I think this pandemic that we've gone through, and hopefully are near the end, has provided for many a glimpse of what retirement might look like. And what I mean by that is you didn't have a workplace to go to. You may have been virtually at home, but you had no place to go to, no way to get out of the house. And you're sitting there 24/7, oftentimes with your spouse or your partner. For some, that worked out very well. For some, maybe not so much. For some, it meant that they really enjoyed this way of working and were delaying their retirement. For others, they recognized that maybe it was time and they needed to move on to the next chapter of life, and they moved up their retirement date. But we have to take all of this into consideration. Let me share with you a story. It was a number of years ago, it could have even been 20, 25 years ago, that I was asked to write what they called a money makeover for the Boston Herald. And so my role as their guest author for this article was to interview a couple and to take a look at their finances and their goals and their desires to find out how they might change things to better put them on track per their own objectives. So this woman who had been working for this organization for a number of years was about 4 or 5 years away from retirement. But the one thing that she kept saying to me was she really hated working there. She didn't enjoy it anymore. But the reason why she was still working there was because she wanted to maximize her pension. And to her, the goal was to get that 100% pension. Therefore, she had to wait another 4 years or so. And then at that point, she could officially retire. So the question really became, what if she retired earlier and we changed the definition, her perspective around a little bit more, to assume that what her goal was to enjoy life, not have to maybe toil at this workplace, but still be able to pursue her financial goals. And as it turned out, when we went through all of the numbers and did the planning and put in place her retirement roadmap, that the very good news was she could, based on her goals and her assumptions, retire right now. And she did. And it was a grand celebration. She realized that the goal wasn't to maximize her pension. The goal was really to maximize her joy of the journey but not give up on the finances. So if we could somehow align the two, and we recalibrated in her mind what was important, the exercise was a true success. And within a month, she had retired from that job. It's a great story. So the question for you really is, are you prepared for retirement? It's so many different levels. In my 4th book that I just released, Don't Outlive Your Money in Retirement, we address this. We address the pandemic. We addressed all the financial and holistic issues. And if you want to, and one of the things we did as a result of the book was put together a quiz that you can find in the banner of our channel. It's a quick 2-minute quiz. Fill it out. We'll score for you all of the answers. It's only 15 questions, I think. 2 minutes. Tell you which of the 3 stages of retirement preparedness you are in. I'll also get you a free chapter of the book and a couple of worksheets to give you a little more clarity about how close you are to whatever your goals are, so you're properly prepared for this next chapter in life. So what I want to do now is to share with you some really good reasons to move forward on retirement and some really bad reasons that I've seen and that we need to address. And the first bad reason, truly, to retire is when I hear somebody say, I can't take this job anymore. Now, I understand that, but if the finances aren't in alignment with what you want, and you may not have lined up a new way to replace that income, just to walk away, depending upon what age and what your level of finances is, may be a very big mistake that you may not be able to overcome. So even though the joy of the journey isn't so much at the workplace, maybe you can figure out how to make some adjustments there so that you can get to the point where you're financially okay to retire. The second comment, and it's similar to that, is I'm bored with my job. Well, maybe you can find other ways in life to create some more stimulus, some more excitement, some more emotion. Maybe you can come up with something in the workplace or volunteer to do something that will help to complement or increase your joy of the journey and not be so bored. Because one of the things that we find once you do retire is that the unsuccessful retirement is due to the fact that people become bored then as a result of not having enough to do and to fill the time, a real fear that I talk about over and over again on this channel. So don't let boredom push you to a bad decision when it comes to retirement. Another line that I've heard, and studies have shown that some people retire as a result of this, is because my parents retired at this age. Well, their goals, life expectancies, cash flow needs, journey, expectations may have been very different than those of ours. We're expected to be living longer. We may be spending more cash as a result. We may need more money as a result of living longer. So be careful that you don't want to just sort of have an emotional attachment, have a parallel decision process as your parents did. And then finally, here's a big one, okay? Don't make this mistake. Your friends are retiring. Well, I don't know if they're retiring and they're making a good decision or a bad decision. How well off they are financially. Sometimes you never can tell the book by the cover, right? It may be that they may have to pay the piper 10, 12, 15 years down the road after retiring and realizing that they should have worked a few more years. But what they do shouldn't impact how you decide or when you decide to retire. Be very, very careful about that one. I've seen that more than a couple of times. It's not always a good thing to do. So let's talk about 3 good reasons to retire. The first is becoming more and more commonplace. I need to take care of someone in my household, a parent, a child. That's a good reason to retire. And we may have to actually sort of put the finances on the back burner for a while because personally, we feel we need to step up and take on that role and help out that family member so that we can help them get to a better place. That is a good reason to retire. The second reason is health. What we found in a study recently was upwards of 50% of people who were retiring early were retiring as a result of a health situation. And here it's really important to understand something, particularly when it comes to Social Security, okay? This is one of the few times where you may be better off to take the delay on the Social Security all the way to age 70, okay? If you qualify for it, you may be better off to take the disability benefit made available to you earlier than your full retirement age, okay? Could get it as early as 60 usually. Take that benefit, let yours defer all the way up to age 70, and then have it move over at that point in time. So if it is a health reason that's causing you to retire early, then that's what we have to do. But the best reason of all would be if you actually put together a plan, a retirement roadmap. You took into account your cash flow need, reducing taxes, which of the 567 different Social Security claiming strategies you should take, how much risk you should take on the portfolio, all of this, the 7-step process that we've put together for our clients, so they can see exactly what track they are on, what decisions might be made, playing what-if scenarios all along the way. If I do this, what happens? If I do this, what's the impact? That's what planning is all about. And then add to that, layer on that, the conversation about the personal side of things, the holistic side of things, the volunteer, the family, the travel, all of that. Put it all into one place, the retirement roadmap. And what you can do is, if you wish to learn more about that, take a look at our playlist that talks about that very 7-step process.